Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is a review for Starfleet, Episode 9, Starfleet Academy, Episode 9, Lost in SPACETrek. So, why do I call it Lost in SPACETrek? Well, I'll give you more information in just a moment. But this one opens up. I'm trying to be more positive about this show, but I'll tell you right off, it's still not really that positive. My overall feeling on this episode was that it was attempting to do a lot of things that they should have done earlier. The storyline is almost incoherent, and the writing is really childish, and the acting is just not good. And it may be because of the writing that they've been given and the directions they've been given, because it's just like, I can't see you making something this huge and important with all of these many mistakes they've done. And I say mistakes because it's just not working. No, it's not. Anyway, so this one opens up on episode 9, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, episode 9, Lost in SPACETrek. I said that, what, twice? 3? That's how bad it is. I can't get started. But here's what happened. They opened up with a party on the ship because it's the 300th episode, 300th night. That's what they call it. And so on this, it's the year end, and they open up with Holly Hunter sitting in the captain's chair with her feet up, as usual. And let me get into it, because it's hard to really explain it. It's just that they are just doing stuff. I mean, they're doing just incoherent stuff. And so it's like they don't have a good editor or writers. They're just writing stuff and somebody is saying, yes, do it. We want to show how open we are. Listen, I'm on the open side of the field, and we don't need this kind of help. not a bit. Nobody wants for somebody to do these things that other people like to say is woke, when you're not helping. You're just not. This is not helping. And on this year's end episode of the Academy, and I have a problem with that too, because how you gonna go from one episode to the end of the season? and I mean, it's like, okay, they're done now. We've irritated you for what, 7 episodes? So on this 8th and 9th, on this 9th episode, we're just gonna go ahead and say, the year is over. It's just not supposed to be this way. Oh, but anyway, let's continue. Why is this like Lost in Space? Well, anybody that's seen it and is my age, they'll know why close to the end, but I'll explain it. And then they open up with the Klingon ritual of having a drink in the Klingon's house. We're not going to come down hard on Jaden today, because everybody and everyone has done that to him. This is not a good character, not a good... I don't know how to say the words. It's just not good. Because, it's just that way. And in my openness way, I don't want to insult him any more than he's already been insulted by thousands of people. But anyway, he's sitting in there with what's his name, Caleb and Genesis and Darren, and those 3. And what was missing was Kyle, because Kyle and Durham are supposed to be in competition with Jaden, and he's supposed to be inviting everybody to his house by having this Klingon drink that apparently has some type of alcohol in it. And so everybody drinks the drink except for Caleb. Caleb is distressed because he misses his mom. Hey, that's nice. Okay. So he goes and says, I'm not going to drink anything. I'm just going to leave. He leaves and gets on the turbo lift with Takayama, Tarima, Toxina, whatever she's called. You know, the girl that blew up all those people just by screaming. Anyway, he gets on the turbo lift. They get on there together. There's a party going on all around them, and you think it just be in one area or one floor, but they change floors with people getting on them, and you could hear the loud music coming from each floor. Maybe they piped it in. Anyway, he and I just call her T, are on the elevator, and they're in an awkward situation where they don't want to talk. They done already been intimate. So you think they want to have a little chit chat about what they're going to do next. But no, they're just standing there like two statues. So after they have this awkward meeting, he gets off the turbo lift and goes to his room because he's sad and thinking about his mom. You find that out later on. So when he goes back to his room, he goes and lays on the bed. And then next you hear this poop. And it's Sam. She pops in. They're not telling you how she got this power of popping in. She didn't do it before. And they didn't let you see her doing it now. You just heard the sound. She popped in on him while he's laying in the bed. How you gonna pop in on a man on a bed? So anyway, she startles the daylights out of him, and then he gets up and he confesses that he misses his mom, and he goes through his messages. I've got 2 years of messages, and I can't unencrypt this message she's got because it has a password on it. He can't remember it, and so Sam talks to him and then tells him that the idea she has to get the password. And he remembers his childhood and the word his mom had given him. Okay, that's nice. Well, he opens it up and then finds out mom has been communicating for these 2 years with him, looking for her boy. And he looks at the last messages and finds out it's like a distress message from her saying that if he's out there, please come and help her. And she needs his help. Well, you know, Sam was there with him. She hugs him on the arm, just over emotional Sam. I wanted to like this young lady when she came on here to play this thing, but Sam is just a character that's just now is tainted. She is an irritant, and so even with her now calmer exterior, she's still an irritant, and so. That's enough about Sam. I said I wasn't going to talk about Jaden. Let me hold up on Sam. Okay. So after Sam gets him to do that. He wants to unencrypt. He unencrypts and finds that out, and then he wants to send her a message back, and he asked Sam, "Can she do it?" She said, "Yeah, but it'll take 14 hours." So he says, "No, I got to go now." So he goes to the captain's office, and they're in this discussing military plans. And so he just walks right in and hears part of the conversation about the war and the problems they're having. What kind of security does this Starfleet have at this apparent time that they're on, whatever? So he hears part of it, and he's hesitant to say anything. So she asks him what was the problem, and I don't really know why he went there, but he decides not to tell her about his mom being in distress. So after that, how many minutes we got? That took 10 minutes? Wow. Let me speed it up. And so then he goes and steals a ship. And when he steals the ship, it's not a ship, it's a what those things that glide through the air they got. Anyway, he gets one of those smaller vehicles and decides that he uses his super powerful scientific knowledge to basically hotwire a jet. And I think they're just trying to make him like Spock without being Spock. He's supposed to be this is really all technical person. So anyway, he goes ahead and wires this thing up to fly. And like I said, the security is just bad at Starfleet in this age. And of course, when he does this, Sam does her new magical powers of popping in. And once again, they have her pop in, but she pops in unseen. And then he just turns around and she's there. You hear the sound, boop, and there she is. Why they don't show it, I guess they're trying to save money from their special effects, but they don't show it again. And so she says she's not going anywhere. She's going to go there with him. And then all of a sudden, Giselle, what's her name? Giselle. Anyway, the young lady with the blonde eyebrows, golden eyebrows, she comes in and says she knows that he's going to try to take the ship and everything, and so she's going to go and tell it. I don't know if she's going to go and tell it, but she said, I'm not going to be part of this, and she leaves, gets ready to leave, and Sam, before she comes in, Durham comes in, drunk from the fluid that Jaden had for his Klingon little party. And he's throwing up, he eventually in the ship, he does throw up the glitter. And so what happens was when he gets in, they have a big discussion, and then all of a sudden, here comes, she said she's going to leave. Sam locks her in, says, well, since you're here, you're going to go with us. And then they go through this wild, childish ride through a warp tunnel, and for the little shuttle. That's what it was. I was trying to say shuttle. They go through the shuttle, and they're just screaming and yelling like they're on a roller coaster ride. It's just, I mean, it's stuff like they did. And anyway, they reach the area that they're trying to reach where his mom is at. He and they go to find her, and he thinks he's found her, and he starts following her, and then she thinks he's somebody trying to take her or kill her or something. And so she confronts him. She almost kills him. Then they figure out, that they're related, and that's his mom. Now, the only thing about this, mom looks about as young as those cadets. She is miscast. That woman should have had some gray hair. She should have had some experience. She should have had some muscles. She should have had an outfit that was strong and for somebody to live this long and do all of these things she's done to get to this point. This should be a tougher woman. And she looked like a little kid. Well, they did the emotional thing. They had you looking at, like, hey, this is mom. And so they had all this emotion. And you tell the writers wanted you to really feel the sympathy and stuff. But it's just not working. I mean, everything is just not quite right. Anyway, next, once they get that established, she's introduced to the team that came with him. But the way they were introduced was crazy because Sam popped in again. This time you could actually see it clear that she did pop in. And it's not a transporter pop in is something that she actually can do. And they're not explaining that at all. They didn't say she phased in. They didn't say she was beamed in. They just said all you heard was boop, and there she was. Mom almost tried to shoot her, and so he calmed her down, and then they decided they're gonna help Mom, but they're gonna go, and anyway, he ended up yelling at all of them, all the young people that came to help him. He singles them out for their flaws. Giselle's, Darren, and he tried to do it to Sam, and she just hugged him and said he's just full of it. Well, yeah. Anyway, next they all leave. They just said they're gonna leave him alone, and then when they left, they get caught, and he's leaving, and he sees them getting caught, and they ended up having a confrontation with the people on that planet that they're on. They end up shooting Mom, and so the captain is on her way with her ship. She decides to just she's going to go there. They had some obstructions. She goes there to rescue them, and they find them. And then one of the best parts I liked, if it had been done by some real good writers, it would have really been even better. But the most emotional part for me was when Holly Hunter's ship arrived. They couldn't beam them from up in space. They had to come down, and what they did was they had it hover over the area where they were at to beam, and it looked great. You could feel the goodness of that scene. If I was a director, I would be like, yes, this is it. And then they beamed them there. Okay, that was the one good spot. Out of a 1 hour show, it should have been more good spots. Anyway, they beam them aboard, and then the people that are on that planet, the people started coming on their spaceships to get them. And so Holly Hunter takes her spaceship, and starts to go in warp, and then they're pulled out of warp. So after that, they had to release the saucer of the ship. And so this is where the Lost in Space part looks like is at, because it looks like Lost in Space when that saucer comes apart. Now, I have seen the saucer separated before in Star Trek movies and shows before, but this looked like a Lost in Space saucer flying after that. And I'm gonna tell you, that ship they got, I just don't like it. The ship basically has wings molded on it. Why would you put wings on a starship? Wings. But anyway, they separated the ship and found out they couldn't do it because Nasparaka's got them surrounded and boxed in. And so on the ship, they had beamed in the team, and they also beamed in Kayla's mom. And at the end, you see that Kayla's mom seems to know who Holly Hunter's character is. And they just looked at each other, so there's more to come about that. But overall, this was a rough episode. I mean, they tried so hard to make you emotionally bonded with this that you didn't become bonded with it. And it's just, you're hoping that it finds its way, but, well, I'm not hoping. I just gave up. But you think they would be finding their way by now, but no, it's just still stepping on your toes all the way. They just step on your toes on it. And I've been listening to more and more people talk about this thing, and it's obvious that they just did not want the old Trek people. They wanted the young Trek people. And there are a lot of Europeans, I believe they say, that are watching this, that they're getting good ratings there. So, you just never know. I mean, I think here, it's not the same here in the United States. So it's a perplexity about why people in other countries would favor this more, and that could be because they don't know anything about Star Trek and they don't know how much they're damaging. To them, it looks new. To us, it looks like an incredible amount of mistakes. Anyway. So, what else I got here before I go? Oh, yes. Let's see. I had to use subtitles on Sam and Holly Hunter. And because, Sam speaks so jumbly too, and so does Holly Hunter. You just can't understand them. Yeah, I spent more time trying to back and forward and go back and understand the words they were saying. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? No. Anyway, that's my take. And I'll be back for the last episode, and we will breathe a sigh of relief, and we will not expect a good thing happening, but we know maybe it will. So that'll be my positivity on that. All right, everybody. It was good to be here with you. Remember to like and subscribe, please. And I hope you enjoyed this, because I did. I enjoyed it, but I feel bad about it being a Star Trek show that's just really run into a lot of bad things happening at the moment. All right, everybody. Take care. Talk to you soon.